got fitted Japan. Yeah, all the time me on business. I'm all about my business, but I ain't got no briefcase. Yeah, all I got's a whiskey. Open and the whiskey, bring it to you. Yeah, I'm leaning up against the door, and my feet stuck to the floor, and the mess I long ago. Yeah, I've been in before. I'm a broken man, needing remedial lands. I'm all about my business. Let me love you till the morning. Let me love you till the morning, yeah.
Yo, what's up, faders? Welcome to yet another action-packed episode of Got Faded Japan, and I am your host, Johnny. And as you fine folks know, Got Faded Japan is about two dudes, booze, Japan, and the news. And faders, in this very special episode, we have a very special guest. We have the one, the only Mario Long on the show. Now, faders, Mario Long is a Tokyo legend, actually a long time Tokyo legend. Mario's been living in Tokyo for well over 20 years, and in that time, he's been doing one thing: living the comic book life. This guy has been writing comics, making comics, buying comics, collecting comics, helping people get started in comics. This guy is like a comic book guru. This guy is like comic Yoda. This guy is super knowledgeable about anything regarding comics. Whenever I have a question about comics, I go to Mario. And I'm so thrilled to have Mario here on this episode. Okay, so in this episode, the sound quality is kind of bad because we had to do the Zoom thing because Mario is so incredibly busy with his business and with an event that he's hosting this weekend that he's going to talk about. And so we had to do the Zoom thing, so the quality of sound is actually not the best. So please bear with us and just listen to this whole episode because there's just so much knowledge that you're going to get from this episode. I mean, Mario is just awesome. He's such a cool guy. And I think that once you get past the really bad audio, you're really going to enjoy this episode because it is just so good. I mean, I really enjoyed this episode. And Mario is just so busy that he only had 30 minutes today to do the podcast. But hopefully we can get him back on the show where we can actually take a real deep dive into like comics and like the comic world here in Japan and stuff. I mean, there's just so much cool stuff happening. And I think that you guys are totally going to enjoy it. So, yep. Without further ado, sit back, relax, fasten your seatbelt, and let's put the pedal to the metal. All right, enjoy the show. And recently we've been doing something special here on Got Faded Japan. We've been finding really cool people who are doing awesome things here in Japan and getting them on the show and just figuring out how they're doing it and what they're doing and kind of pick their brain a little bit and just making friends. So that's what we're doing right now. And actually, faders, I am very happy because today we have a legend of a human being here on Got Faded Japan. We have the one, the only Mario Long. Mario Long, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you for having me. That was a fantastic introduction. I don't know if I can beat that. But yeah, I appreciate it, brother. Thank you.
No, you got it, man. Well, I've been doing this for a long time.
Well, you're good at it. You're very good.
Well, actually, faders, I gotta come clean. We did this about a week ago, and for some reason, after our sound check, the sound failed, and so we recorded like an hour and a half epic episode, and it was soundless, and we got a lot of complaints from the YouTube live stream, and so that's one we're definitely not going to put on Patreon, and please support us on Patreon. But actually, I want to support you, Mario. So, Mario, you have been called many wonderful things. Some people call you a walking comic book encyclopedia. I last week called you a walking Google, a comic book Google. But you know what? You might even be like a walking comic book AI. You know everything about comic books. Every question that I have about comic books, new, old, and even more, you've got an answer, and you've got a detailed answer. I showed you my small little pathetic collection, and you just dropped knowledge on me like it was nobody's business. I was like, oh my goodness, I should reread these. And you're like, yeah, you definitely should. So let me ask you, how did you first start collecting comic books? How did you get into the lifestyle?
Yeah, it's a great question. Well, first off, I'll say that, as much as I appreciate the introduction, I mean, there are people that obviously have a lot more deeper knowledge of I'll never claim to be the king nerd of the nerds, right? And I say that affectionately, right? I consider myself as a nerd. So, but I got into comics. The short answer is, as a kid, I grew up in like the Detroit metro area, and
Hmm.
I was really kind of into a lot of science fiction, a lot of fantasy stuff as a kid. I loved cartoons, and comic books were just a way for me to kind of escape, my environment. And that
Yeah.
was one of the ways that I learned how to read actually by reading comic books, and having a dictionary next to me as I, read Stan Lee's, editor comment section, and just getting comics from like my older cousins and things, and maybe some things that I probably shouldn't have been reading, like heavy metal and stuff. But yeah, that's how I got started, is as a kid, young kid.
Very cool, very cool. And so you've been collecting comics since you're a little kid, but now
Yeah,
you're living in Tokyo, Japan. So you're going from
yeah.
like Detroit to Japan, and you're still collecting comics. Is it easy to collect comics in Japan? And when I
Well,
say
yeah,
comics, I mean American comics. Obviously, Japanese comics are pretty easy.
yeah. Well, so you've got a couple places, mainly in Tokyo and Osaka. In between that is kind of like it's just like a barren wasteland of places. There might be one or two shops that would carry current comics, but there's one in Akihabara called Blister.
Lister.
Blister Comics. I'll actually give them a little bit of a plug. They're sponsoring one of our upcoming events. But yeah, Blister Comics in Akihabara, and then there's another one in Osaka that has comics. And then obviously the internet, you can get trade paperbacks if you want. A lot of like indie comics like Image. There's a lot of really cool series right now that are trade paperbacks. You can get those on Amazon.
Very cool, very cool. And do you think like lot of Western people that come to Japan and live here for long periods of time continue to collect Marvel comics and DC and so on, or do you think they generally kind of like kind of go towards Japanese comics like Jump, like Lupin Sansei,
Yeah,
Go Go 13? Those are
yeah.
some dated ones, but I don't know. One Piece.
Man, you got even One Piece now is old school, man. You gotta we're three generations behind.
Oh man.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm
you
sorry. I'm
know,
sorry.
it's
I'm old school. I like it.
yeah, yeah, and me too. Go 13, I think, is an awesome series. Lone Wolf and Cub, if you've ever read that, is an
Yeah.
awesome series, right? There's a ton of manga that it's, from like the 60s, 70s that I think is just amazing. And maybe we'll talk about that a bit, what we're doing to kind of like bring some of those older properties back into the mainstream. But to answer your question, I think people that come to Japan typically have an interest in Japanese culture, and that includes manga. And so I think the people that come here probably are going to be already into manga and anime, right? So there is a crowd, there are people here, there is a community, but I think because it's so expensive, right? I mean, an average comic book, if you bought it in the US right now, might cost you like $5, right?
Yeah.
Um, and correct me if I'm wrong, if anybody, but here, that same book is going to cost you maybe like eight, once you factor in like the conversion rate, right? So if you're buying more than one book a month, you could easily spend, 70, $80 on comic books a month. And for a lot of people, that's a bit too much.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's definitely true. What about
Yeah.
used comics? Can you get used American comics here? I know you can get tons of used Japanese comics for like super cheap.
Yeah, so actually, I found a place a few years ago, and it's called at like the at mark,
Mhm.
like an email at mark, and then Wanda. So if you put like, I guess it's like the katakana pronunciation for wonder, but it's at Wanda, and that's in Jimbocho.
Ah,
So
Jimbocho, like
yeah, yeah.
the book
So
district.
I almost don't want to plug that place though, because it's like my little hidden place where I can still find like back issues from like the 80s and stuff.
Mhm.
And obviously if everyone goes there, then they're gonna rummage through the long boxes, right? But I want to support their business too. So if anybody's looking for back issues at Wanda, and then also I have a friend who actually has his own comic resale business. I was just with him in Osaka Comic Con this weekend, so maybe I can put that in the comments or something, or I can send it to you if anybody wants his socials. But he's got an amazing collection of like near mint quality books, and a lot of them have been graded and ready to be sold. So yes, there's a couple options.
Wow, fantastic. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool, very cool. And so, all right, so you've been collecting comics for ages and stuff. Are your comics still at home in Motown, or did you bring them here in like a
Oh yeah,
huge backpack? Were you like Santa Claus or something?
yeah. I brought those bad boys here. So I've been in Japan for a long time, and for a while I had them in my mother's basement.
Oh boy.
I had some of them. I have a pretty, I wouldn't say large collection, but I probably have about 5,000 comic books, right?
Jeez.
Yes. So
That's
so I
pretty
had,
big, man.
some of my boys back in Detroit, they were holding on to them. I had a cousin that had my books in the basement for a couple years, and finally I said, okay, let me just clean things up, and I got all that stuff back, and I shipped it back to Japan, and now I have stuff in my closets. I've got stuff in storage, and it's more of an addiction than a collection, I would say at this point.
Yeah, most collections kind of wind up that way.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
talk to anybody that owns a couple of records, man. Record
yeah,
collectors are insane. They're the same thing.
yeah.
They smell the records, they taste the records. They
Okay,
don't bag on board the records, huh?
I don't know if I'm tasting any comic books, but I do actually, not to sound creepy, but I do like the smell of comic books. Like I like, there's something about reading a comic book that's different if it's a digital, if it's on your Kindle or on your iPad, right?
Hmm.
I like the feel of like the paper and the
Hmm.
smell of the paper,
Hmm.
right? So
Hmm.
I don't know, I kind of like it.
No, no, I completely agree with you. I mean, I love the smell of old records. Old records are
Yeah,
great. I
right?
used to work in a
Yeah.
record shop, dude, and it was like the best thing ever. Oh my God, it's like working in a bakery. Oh man.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
It's good, man. But okay, yeah. Speaking of digital comics,
Mhm.
which do you prefer, digital comics or tangible comics? I think I know the answer, but I gotta ask.
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on what you're trying to read, right? So if you're reading like some of the main, like, the major publishers like Marvel, DC, I mean, they put a lot of effort into, creating crossovers, right? So say if you want to read whatever's happening right now with DC and their new Superman, Batman crossover, they're going to spread that story out across like, 10 different titles, right? And if
Mhm.
you're buying them, like I said here, at $8 a pop, you could easily bankrupt yourself just trying to catch up on what's happening. So if you're trying to get into a bigger story, digital is the way to go. You're not going to, break the bank, and you have to wait a little bit longer sometimes because those are usually posted a few months after they've been published. But you could really save a lot of time and just read by going to a digital platform. But I consider myself a hunter gatherer, so I like actually going around and trying to find back issues. I just yesterday got a missing piece of Secret Wars. If you know
Oh, you got a
Marvel Secret
gem?
Wars, I had one that was missing. It's a 12-part miniseries, and I've been collecting these books for over 30 years. And
What?
yesterday, just like Thanos getting the last Infinity Stone, I know it's a different crossover, but
Eh.
I got the last one, number four, and I have a complete Secret War set now, so I can die happy. But so yeah, to answer your question, I like paper just because it's more of the hunt for me than just going and reading the whole story. I like kind of trying to fill those gaps with
Yeah,
missing
yeah.
issues, right? So that's part of the fun.
I love that. I love that. Yeah. So yeah, yesterday, actually last weekend, you were at Osaka Comic Con. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Right, yeah. So it's a 3-day event. It was at the Intex Center in Osaka. It was a massive, I think it was maybe 5 different exhibition halls. So
Oh,
huge,
jeez.
huge cosplayer scene, artist alley with tons of international and local artists. Merchandising area with a bunch of like licensed good. A lot of
Yeah.
movie stars, like Nicolas Cage was there, Mads
What?
Mikkelsen. A lot of actors, actresses were there, and it was just a whole vibe. It was a whole scene, and I had a great time. Had a really good time at the event, and I
Oh
always
my
do.
God.
I always do. They have one in Tokyo as well. So if anybody is watching this and you're thinking of coming to Japan, maybe check out when it's usually in late November or early
Mhm.
December. Maybe come into Tokyo for Tokyo Comic Con, and I guarantee you have a good time.
Yeah, definitely, definitely do that. Do you go to the other one? I forget the name. It's called it's more for like comic book creators. It's called Comiket.
Yeah, so Comic Cat.
Yeah,
Comic Cat is
Comiket.
wild. Have you been?
I have not been, but I'm
Oh
definitely gonna go.
wow.
I'm gonna go with the Dose guys.
Oh
Eventually,
yeah,
I
yeah,
gotta
yeah,
go. The next time, 'cause
yeah,
they always go, so I gotta go. Especially Little
yeah,
Sean.
yeah. Those guys are awesome, by the way. Just yeah, like shout out to Dose if you guys haven't read their books. They're amazing, amazing art, amazing story, really cool
Yeah,
people. Just saw them in Osaka at their booth. They were there, and then
that's
they'll
right.
be at. We're having an event in Nihonbashi this weekend. They'll be there as well. We'll talk about that in a second.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, what was the question you asked? I just forgot my
Oh, was it Comiket?
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, so Comic Cat.
The craziness of
Yeah,
Comic-Cats.
it's
It's
so
like Thunderdome. Like two people enter, one person
yeah,
leaves. It's crazy
two
like that,
two
right?
men enter, one man leave.
Yeah.
It's a thing. So I usually have a merchandise booth at the Comic Con, or we'll do like a panel discussion or something like that. And I was going to exhibit at Comic Cat, but I had never been to it, so I thought, let me just check it out. And my company, Sakura Phoenix, we make manga, we make games, but it's none of it is like too raunchy. It's pretty much like, for children or mature. But mature still doesn't mean like hentai, right? I don't know if we can say hentai on YouTube, but
You can.
um, but yeah, Comic Cat, there's a lot of hentai, like a lot. So
It's hardcore.
like
Like
a
anything you
lot.
can imagine that's bad, it's there.
And so what it
And good.
is, there's different days. Now, I don't want to paint it and say that the whole thing is like that, but the day I went, I guess, was hentai day. So, like, what people do is they'll take established properties like Dragon Ball or Spirited Away or anything really, right? And they'll turn it into something like pretty perverted. And a lot of the people who draw it, a lot of the mangaka are like these sweet, like old ladies, and like you'll go to the booth and they'll smile at you and you'll look at it and you're like, oh, tentacles, and they'll just kind of like go, yeah, that's what I do. So yeah, I decided to not exhibit at that event. But if anyone's in town and you want to see something like truly crazy, go to
Mhm.
Comic Cat, and it's very different from what you'll get at like a Comic Con or some of the other bigger events.
It's an experience.
It is, and it's massive. So I went like right after COVID, in like 2023,
Mm.
2022, and it was the biggest event that I had seen. Even bigger than the Olympics from what I saw when I was here, right? Because there weren't any, no any spectators, right? So it was one of the first big events that Tokyo had after like the pandemic era, kind of,
Mhm.
left, and I was blown away. I was blown away. It was a whole subculture that I had never really thought about. That it's on full display there, and it's a lot of people, and they're not the kind of people you would imagine that would be looking at content like that. So I was quite surprised.
Yeah. Yeah, I was impressed.
Mm.
Oh my God. But yeah, so let's talk about what you do in your company.
Yeah, sure, sure. Thank you. So Sakura Phoenix is a
Yep.
manga, tabletop game, and animation production company. Right now, we focus primarily on the manga production and the
Mhm.
tabletop game production. We have a partner company that handles animation. So they've done stuff with Netflix, Amazon, and other streaming platforms.
Mhm.
But right now, what we do is we create our original intellectual properties. I have two right now that are in development. One has officially been announced, called God Tier.
God
Uh,
tier.
God
I
Tier,
dig it.
yeah. God Tier comes out as a manga in America on June 17th. If you just Google God Tier and then Mad Cave Studios is the publisher for that. So it's on Crunchyroll, it's on Amazon, it's on Mad Cave's website. The pre-sales are live now until I think May 24th, 23rd. But
Awesome.
yeah, please go in and pre-sale. It really helps. And then if you can't do that, go into your local comic book shop and hopefully they have a copy there. But it should be around nationwide from June 17th.
Nation in Japan or nation in the States?
In the U.S., yeah. So it's already published in Japan. I had that published maybe 2 years ago.
Very cool.
Yeah, yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. But it'll be published basically nationwide in the U.S. From June 17th. Volume one. It's a black and white manga tankobon format, which is
Mhm.
like around 180 pages.
Wow, that's
Um,
great.
yeah, so it's about, I think, like $10, maybe 10.99 or something like that. Um, it might be cheaper on Crunchyroll if you go to crunchyroll.com, but that's just me. Uh, so, but yeah, and then Volume Two comes out in August, and yeah, it's inspired by Greek mythology. It's a very different take from anything that I've seen before. So
Mhm.
I think it's an original take on kind of an older concept, but it
Very cool.
basically is the story of a family trying to survive in the middle of a war, basically between rioters and police, gods and monsters, and then forces even bigger than the gods, the titans, right? So this family is trying to survive in the middle of this massive disturbance, right? And there's a little bit of a sci-fi edge to it. But yeah, I'm really proud of the book, and I really hope people give it a chance, and stick with it until we get to the end of the series.
Well, that is fantastic. Very, very cool. And it just a quick question regarding your company. Is
Mhm.
a lot of the stuff that you do regarding comics and comic book art, is it more like American style, like Western style, or is it like French style, or is it Japanese
Yeah,
style,
yeah,
or
yeah.
a
That's a great
hybrid?
question because it's more of a hybrid, right? So what, obviously I'm going to write things that are influenced by my upbringing, by my experience. I can try to write things that are different from my experience, but I'm going to probably write stories in a Western mindset, right?
Hmm.
But the mangaka, the artists that I work with, a lot of them are Japanese nationals or they're from other countries, and a lot of what we do is manga style.
Cool.
But we experiment. So like God Tier is a tankobon format book where it's a bit thicker, smaller than a traditional U.S. Comic book.
Hmm.
But that particular book, you actually read it from left to right, like a traditional U.S. book.
Okay.
Whereas I have another book that's coming out that I can't quite mention the name of it, but it's pretty cool because we're actually licensing this IP from a Japanese animation company. That will be a traditional manga that goes from right to left. Even though it's in English, you'll read that completely backwards than the way that God Tier is.
You got to read it backwards, like from
Well,
right to left?
well, like Japanese books, typically you read them from right to left.
Yeah. But the
And
English?
No, no. So the English, no, that'd be crazy. So
Oh, okay.
so
I was like, oh my God, dude.
so the
Uh-huh.
pages and the panels, right? So you would read the
Got it.
top, you'd read the top right panel first, then the
Mm.
top left panel, then the top or the bottom right, then the bottom left,
Got it. Got
right?
it. Got it.
And
Okay.
maybe
All
at
right.
first,
Cool.
at first it's a bit like you might feel a bit disoriented because it's in English, and you're like, well, this is not the way that we read English. But after a while, you're kind of like, your brain will automatically adjust to it, and you'll be okay.
You know, I'm curious. The last time I went back home, like, I mean, I love comics. I always buy comics and stuff,
Mm.
when I go back home. And I go to this place in Ann Arbor, Michigan. I think it's called Vault of Midnight.
Yeah, that's an
Y-
awesome, awesome comic shop. Really, really
Yeah.
like that place.
They
Yeah.
have a whole wall of manga. And when I look at it, I go there with my wife, and she's like,
Hmm.
buying comic books, huh, in America? I'm like, yeah, 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 yeah. Just let me take a look around. And I see this
Yeah.
big wall of like Japanese manga and stuff. And I've never really like picked up a book and like looked at
Hmm.
it and stuff because I'm not really interested in like the manga when I'm back in the
Mm.
States. I want to find like graphic novels. A couple
Hmm.
here I actually want to show you later, but that's a different
Hmm.
story. But anyway, in America, if you buy, let's just say like Dragon Ball Z, or if you
Hmm.
buy like let's say Lupin Sensei or something,
Yeah.
is of course it's in English, but is like the setup is like the layout like American style, or is it Japanese style
Yeah, yeah.
backwards?
I
I'm
think
not sure.
that's an excellent question, right? So when manga was first kind of being adapted for US audiences, and you had like Viz back in like maybe the 90s that were getting the
Yeah.
licenses for Dragon Ball, they
Hmm.
would use what's called a mirror technique, right? Where they would just flip horizontally flip the image, and then that way you could read it from left to right. But but as you know, as an artist yourself, like that really affects, the symmetry of a lot of art is not 100% accurate. So if you
Yeah.
mirror flip something, a lot of the artwork looks weird because it wasn't made to be viewed that way, right?
Hmm.
So it actually had kind of a negative effect on the experience with the book because the artwork isn't exactly how the artist intended it to be. So now fast forward, 30 years, and audiences now, readers are a lot more mature in the sense
Yeah.
that they can read a book in English from right to left, and like I said, their brain automatically adjusts to that. The thing I would say to you is, you mentioned like trade paperbacks, and you mentioned U.S. comics and things like that. If you take a pie chart and you put all the books that are sold that are graphic novels on a pie chart, you'd be surprised that in the U.S. right now, a majority of those books are manga books,
I heard about that. Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
So, I mean, right now, obviously, you're seeing a lot of the bigger, publishers, Marvel and DC, they have the marketing bucks, so they're publishing tons of books. If you go to a bookstore, you'll see tons of, what did you just throw away there?
My phone, it keeps on ringing.
Okay.
It's
You'll,
vibrating, dude. It's
you'll,
like an earthquake, dude. I'm like, stop.
yeah.
I got it on vibrate, but it's like beep,
Uh,
beep, 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 beep. I work freelance, and right now everybody's
oh,
getting
okay.
off work, so I'm so sorry to
No,
disrupt
no, no, no worries, no worries. But you'll see tons of books on the shelf. You'll see tons of commercials. You'll see obviously tons of movies. Marvel has movies coming out, DC has movies coming out, but the people are speaking and the people are saying we want manga, and so that's what's selling right now. So obviously you've got like your core Batman, Superman, Spider-Man fans, but a lot of these other titles might not be selling as well because a lot of the audience is gravitating now towards manga. And that's nothing against traditional, U.S. comics, but I think the audience now, they want something a little bit different, and this is an amazing time to be in this industry.
Wow, that's awesome. Hey,
Yeah.
quick question. Do you think it's because of action? Like a lot of Japanese comics is just action, 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 action in your face, page turner, page turner. Is it
Yeah.
that, or do you think it's like the stories that they're so radically different than American
Mm.
style stories, or maybe a combination of everything? Or
Yeah, I
of
think it's
course
a
the artwork.
combination. It's a combination of everything, right? One, our attention spans are a lot shorter, right? So you kind of have to get to it. And anime and manga, like they exaggerate everything, to
Yeah.
the 100th degree, right? So I think that's a part of it. One is just the attention span and just the spectacle, the
Mhm.
art quality. I mean, a lot of manga is just beautiful, beautiful artwork, right? And it's very
True.
different. The other
True.
thing too is I think every property kind of has a shelf life, right? It has a time when it peaks and then a time where it falls off. And if it's lucky, it has a time where it comes back. I grew up in a time when the Ninja Turtles came out and it was super popular and then it kind of like fizzled out and then it came out again and it kind of fizzled out and now it's high again, right?
Hmm.
So these things kind of come and go. But the point I'm getting at is traditional superheroes, this stuff is like from the 30s a lot of times, right? From the 40s. And so you have people walking around with, their underwear on the outside of their pants, like it's a very outdated concept that I think we're very lucky that I think people still like Superman, right? But it's a concept that was made, almost 90 years ago for a completely different culture and people, right?
Hmm.
So obviously there's something about that story that resonates and hopefully there's going to always be an audience for Superman. But I think people need something a bit different and something for this generation. And I think manga and anime specifically has that feel of this is made for the people now.
Cool, very cool. All right, and speaking, all right, I know
Mhm.
you've got a little bit of time left, but so I'm
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
keep it short. But speaking of manga in
Hmm.
Japan and like new manga and superheroes,
Hmm.
you've got a very, very special event happening this weekend, and I really want you to talk about it and plug it to get our audience that's living in Japan interested in
Yes,
coming out.
yes, yes, yeah. This is very cool. I'm actually really proud of this event. We've been planning this for a very long time. And so the organization is called Legacy Art Japan, and it's a collective of my company, Sakura Phoenix, my partner company, Day Art Stagio, that's animation studio, and then another one of our partners, Dante Carver, who's a major talent on TV and film here in Japan. So the three of us came together and put together this organization called Legacy Art Japan, and the focus of it is to kind of put a spotlight on foreign and local talent and to give them a wider audience here in Japan, introduce them to commercial activities with companies that might want to hire them to do illustration work or live art performances. And then also just to help them build a fan base here. So when they come to Japan, they have a warm reception and people know who they are. And so we started off with a huge, huge superstar in the comic scene,
Hmm.
a gentleman named Ryan Benjamin.
Hmm.
Ryan Benjamin has been in the industry for a very long time. As far back in the 90s, he worked with Marvel, DC, Image Comics, like when they first took off, Wildstorm, like all these major, IP that he's worked on over the decades, and his amazing work is just it's hard to even put into words, right? So Ryan Benjamin is doing an exclusive collection of artwork that he's prepared for this exhibition. It'll be in Nihonbashi on Friday and Saturday. It's a 2-day event. It's a five-story building. Five-story
Nice,
building. We're gonna have
nice.
live music. We're gonna have a VIP lounge. We're gonna have DJs. We're gonna have drinks, food, and artwork. Original artwork and prints of the artwork will be available for sale. We'll do a charity auction. I mean, it's just all types of stuff. So if you are in Tokyo this weekend, May 9th, May 10th, and you're not at that event, you're doing something wrong with your life.
I'll be there. I'll
You'll be
definitely
there.
be. I'm going to be
You'll
there
be
for
there.
both days.
Be there, be square. But yeah, I'm very happy about this event. It's the first one that we've done like this. We want to do more. We'll probably do another one in December for the Tokyo Comic Con. And yeah, this is going to be fantastic. So please, everybody, if you're listening, come on down. The tickets are free. You know, we ask that you buy one drink at the door, but the actual ticket itself is free. And, you know, I think you'll meet some new people. You might see some familiar faces. You'll obviously see some really cool artwork. Ryan Benjamin will be there doing live art performances and signing autographs on prints and doing commissions as well. So this is a really cool thing. He was one of the hottest artists at the Osaka Comic-Con, and he's extended his stay to basically be at this event. So I'm really happy to have him here, and I can't wait for people to have a chance to meet him and see his artwork.
Fantastic. That's awesome. Mario, thank you so much for being on the show.
No, thank you. Really appreciate it, brother. Thank
I know
you.
we went over just about a minute or so. You got a meeting happening right now, so I'm just like, oh my God, I'm trying to like get me. All right. We're a minute over, right? But you're okay?
All right. Yeah. No worries. No worries. Yeah.
Oh man, Mario, dude, thank you so much for being on the show. It's so great to hang out with you again. It's so great to pod with you. I can't wait to see you this weekend.
Awesome.
I'm so excited about all the wonderful things that you're doing here in Japan, all the wonderful things that you're going to be doing in Japan, and with like the rest of like your awesome career, collecting comics, making comics, and just adding and fueling, putting gasoline on the comic community and blowing it up and making it as big as you can, man. Because I know that's what you're doing, dude. Oh man, thank you so much for being awesome, dude. I'm so happy.
Thank you so much for your support, your energy. Really appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you this weekend. And again, spread the word. If you guys are in Tokyo this weekend, please come on and see us. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Faders, you know what to do. Go down the show notes and click on the links. All the links for everything that he's doing is down there, especially for the show that's coming up this weekend. It's going to be great. We look forward to seeing you there, and thank you so much. And we'll catch you next time, Faders. Peace.
See ya.
Yo, what's up, Faders? Got Faded Japan has got a new sponsor. Our new sponsor is Gamuso Bar, located in Asagaya, Tokyo. If you're kicking it in Tokyo and you want to get your groove on, get your fade on, you better get your ass down to Gamuso. Gamuso is located in Asagaya. It's about 11 minutes from Shinjuku Station on the Chuo line. Gamuso has weekly bands, weekly performances. And hell, if you got your own event and you want to hold it at Gamuso, we'd love to host you. So contact Gamuso at www.gamuso.com. That's www.gamuso.com. That's right, Gamuso has not only beers in the bottle, but beers on tap. We've got every drink you want, so come on down to Gamuso. Gamuso, and if I'm working, tip me.
Have your attention, please. Attention.
Hey, yo, what's up, Vaders? Johnny here. You know I love booze and news, but I also love art. So come on down to thespiltink.com and check my art out. I've got tons of stuff there for you to check out. I've got paintings, I got prints, I got videos. And I tell you what, if you like a painting, I could probably sell it to you. And I tell you what, if I can't sell you that painting, I will definitely sell you a print. I've got prints of all my work. Prints are about 2,000 yen each, about $20, but if you buy two, you get the third one for free. So come on down to thespiltink.com. Yo, and on top of that, I'm looking for commissioned work. So if there's something that you want me to do, I can make it for you. Just check out my stuff and see if you like my style. And if you like my style, I can definitely paint you anything on canvas, paper, whatever. I've done it all. So come on down to thespiltink.com. That is THESPILTINK.com. Thespiltink.com. Proper. Mitsuya Liquors. Yo, what's up, Faders? If you're in Asia, if you're in Japan, if you're in Tokyo, if you're in Asagaya, you better get down to Mitsuya Liquors. That's right, for the most affordable prices in Japan, you can get over 300 different kinds of beer. That's right, over 300 different kinds of beer. And of course, they got all the shochu you need, all the sake you need, and of course, they got wine from California to Italy to France to New Zealand. They got it all. When I say they got it all, they really, seriously got it all. There's no joke about that. So get down to Mitsuya Liquors. And if you go in there and you say, Got Faded Japan, you will be more than welcome to go into their back room and drink those beers that you just purchased. That's right, Got Faded Japan at Mitsuya Liquors. And 3 times a week, they have a sushi chef there. So get your sushi on, get your drink on, get your fade on, and come on down to Mitsuya Liquors, located comfortably in Asagaya, about 5-minute walk from the station.
In Tokyo and craving soul food? We've got just the place for you. Soul Food House in Azabu Juban. Check out what we do at soulfoodhouse.com. Come by and taste the love. We look forward to feeding you.
Are you in Harajuku with some out-of-town friends or your family or significant others? Yeah! Do you want to chill and drink beer and eat sandwiches while your friends overpay for glitter unicorn socks? Yeah!
And the flavor's gonna make you complete at Harry's Sandwich Company.
So come on down to Harry's Sandwich Company in the heart of Harajuku, right off Takeshita Street. See you there!
Little brother, a goddamn shit-sucking vampire. Will you wait till Mom finds out, buddy?
I've got a government job to abuse and a lonely wife to fuck. As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
God, the pressure! I can't take it! I can't take it! I can't get to it!
You sure it's serious, man?
We're going freaking! We came, we saw, we kicked his ass!
Your move, creep.
Man, I will never forgive your ass for this shit. This is some fucked up repugnant shit.
Ah, fuck it, dude. Let's go bold.